Let's go to Queensland now and catch up with the Nationals leader, David Littleproud. David, thanks for joining us. I want to get straight to this net zero debate. The South Australian Liberal Party State Council has said we should get rid of, in fact, they've scrapped their allegiance to a net zero by 2050 target. This is where the coalition parties have to go, don't they?
Well, look, the Liberal Party is going to undertake a review into their policy, and we're working through our position on that. But our lived experience of what that's looking like for regional Australians is this all renewables approach is actually a lived one that is far more harsher than just your energy bills going up. So you see, we're living with the physical consequence of our prime agricultural land being ripped up, with transmission lines, solar panels and wind turbines. And the actual thing you're trying to protect, the actual natural environment, is also being destroyed in trying to achieve this. Now, we were sensible as Nationals and said that let's have a technology agnostic approach, and we still believe in that. We should have nuclear energy as part of that solution. But you should also look at countries that are looking at having a mixed energy grid, not an all renewables approach. And that's like Japan. Japan's importing our coal and gas, burning it, capturing it, and bringing it back here and storing it in here in Australia.
But as you know, this will go way beyond energy. I know that's been the main focus and it's a huge part of our emissions, but we're talking about changes to the way agriculture works, trying to get people to eat more vegetables. This goes to the electrification of all of our rail, getting rid of diesel trains, getting rid of petrol cars. There's a massive challenge here. So I reckon there's two really key questions that I want to ask you to give me quite short answers to if you can. Firstly, if Australia could get to net zero tomorrow, would there be any environmental benefit to the world?
Not that I can understand from the science that I've read because of our actual emissions as a small country. What we need is pressure on countries like China and India, the big emitters. And in fact, what we are doing is not going to be able to make a significant impact in terms of the scientific data that has been made available to me.
No doubt. What you're quoting is just the facts and the science. But the second point is, do you believe it is possible for this developed economy, ours, and others like the United States or even China and Japan, to get to net zero by 2050? Could that be done?
Well, not without nuclear energy or carbon capture storage and some pragmatic approaches to things like methane for agriculture. And unless we see that, then obviously I think the world is going to have a realisation that's going to be very difficult. In fact, they're realising that now. I've never been to one of these COP conferences, Chris, but those that have come back and told me that many of the countries that have made these grand commitments are now saying, look, the easy stuff has already been done. The hard stuff now is costing us a lot. And there is going to be a realisation at some point. Now, what we are blessed with in this country is the sovereignty of all our resources. And we can have a mixed grid and we can have a sensible economy and a sensible conversation. If the extremities of this debate actually lay down their arms and actually wake up to the reality of what is facing us as an economy and as a nation, and about backing ourselves and backing the resources we've got to give us a mixed grid that actually ultimately leaves a healthy environment, but leaves us all a far wealthier country.
It's the bottom line, though, isn't it? When you summarise all that, you're talking about a policy that can't make any environmental difference and a policy that's going to be impossible to deliver. So it's a pretty hard policy to rationally support or advocate. We'll keep coming back to this issue in the future. But before I wanted to let you go, I just want to get your thoughts on the drought. I know it's hitting South Australia very badly and most of Victoria, large parts of Western New South Wales. You're calling for the government to step in with interest-free loans for farmers?
Yeah, we did this back in 2019, Chris. We introduced a drought loan that had 2 years repayment-free, interest-free, then for the next 3 years went to interest only. What that did was provide cash flow and it allowed up to $2 million to be refinanced from their commercial bank, where they'd be paying close to, over those couple of years, nearly a couple $100,000 worth of interest. It just buys them time, buys them the ability when it does rain allows them to restock and replant. And I think there's also an opportunity to lay that over the natural disasters we've seen in far western Queensland, in my electorate, where they need some help to get up off the ground, to be able to do that, to either restock, to replant, or to refinance some of their debt. This is about cash flow, and I think it worked well in 2019 and 20 when we did it for the drought, and I think it should be one of the sweeter measures that the government looks at to support the drought-stricken farmers in the southern part of our country and some of our flood-affected farmers as well. And I'm pleased to see that Category C and D has been announced on the central north coast, but it's a lot less than what other jurisdictions have received. And I think the New South Wales government should have a look at that. But I think this is another measure that the federal government could implement with the Regional Investment Corporation. They own it all. They can do it all. It's been done before.
Thanks, David. Appreciate your time. David Littleproud there, the Nationals leader, joining us from Ryford in Queensland.